Hi, so in this video I wanted to talk about singleness, and in my videos you'll notice that I talk about things from a biblical perspective, and in the Bible singleness is not a bad thing, but it seems like the society we live in these days views singleness as a bad thing, and somebody who is single and wants to be married might also view it as a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. I really want to do a video offering encouragement to people who are single. I'm currently single, so I'm coming to you from a perspective of somebody who is single and who's been single for a long time and have not yet gotten married but wants to be married. So I know there's a lot of people out there on the same boat, in the same situation, and I'm not here to rebuke anyone in any way. I'm not here to make people feel bad in any way for being single. People who are single and want to be married may already feel a huge amount of discouragement. I am not here to bring any type of discouragement and say that there's something wrong with you because you're single or you're doing something wrong. God will reveal that to you if that's the case. I'm not here to give a list of do's and don'ts. I'm not here to say, well, maybe you're not getting out enough, or maybe you don't feel approachable. I'm pretty sure if you're single and you want to get married, you've probably watched videos or read articles, and people say that to you all the time in these videos and articles, and you're a little tired of hearing about it, quite frankly. You can probably tell based on the fact that I'm saying that I'm tired of hearing it, but I do want you to stay encouraged, okay? It can be something that's very discouraging, and I'm doing a series of videos actually to help women who have been in abusive relationships or are currently in abusive relationships. I'm starting a ministry on that because that was my testimony. That's how I came to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I was in an abusive relationship. It was mentally and emotionally abusive, and God rescued me from that, and I have been on fire for him ever since. I came from a background where I got in trouble all the time. I had issues with drugs, gangs, academics. I now have my master's degree. I mean, God has really turned my life completely around. And he was the only one that helped me get out of this abusive relationship. And to be honest with you, I've been single since. And there's been a lot of situations where I've had prospects for dating and everything, but I always pray before we even really meet. God, if this is your will, then let it happen. If not, then close the door. And God has closed the door every single time. Every single time. And, I've been there. I've been through the situation where you're hoping, maybe this is going to be the year. Maybe I'll meet my future spouse. And maybe this person's it. I've been there. I've been through all of that. I've watched so many videos and read so many articles from people trying to encourage. And there's a lot of people out there in the same situation as me. There's also people who have done videos and they're currently married and they were single for a while. Being single for a while is relative to a lot of people. 1 to 2 years might seem like a long time for somebody. For me, it's actually been almost 13 years. And I know there's people out there who have been single a lot longer. I just want to do God's will, and I want to get into the relationship that he has for me. I'm not just dating to date. I am waiting for God to bring me my husband at the right place at the right time, which I know he will because he's already revealed that to me. He has revealed, and it's been about 7 years. It's been about 7 years that he revealed to me, because I actually thought I was called to singleness 7 years ago. And God revealed to me, don't you want me to use your marriage as an example of a good marriage? And I said, oh yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. I want to get married. But then you kind of get the perspective, well, why do you want to get married? Do you want to get married because you don't want to be lonely, because you want somebody to be there for you, because you want somebody to fulfill your needs? If that is the reason why you want to get married, then and that's it, you're not ready for marriage, quite frankly. Being married is so different from being single. And I know what you're thinking. I've never been married. I can't really speak on that. I can just imagine. I've been around a lot of people who are married. I've talked to a lot of people who are married. I have a lot of married friends and relatives. And you the independence level is so different, okay? I mean, you're sharing a house and everything with another person. It's not just you. So when you get married, you should have the mindset that it should be equal. You want to meet someone else's needs too, not just have your own needs met. And ultimately, you want to glorify God. And that's what God revealed to me, is that I'm going to get married to glorify Him, and not just to be there for somebody and them to be there for me, but to also help other people. So I look forward to the day that I do a video on my testimony as to when God brings me my husband, and when I have that marriage that He's talking about that's going to be so good, it's going to serve as an example. I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know when it's going to happen. I have times where I really struggle because I have a very deep, strong desire to get married and have kids. And I'm honestly getting to the age where that might not be possible anymore. So that can be very, very discouraging. It can get harder as you get older, as the years pass and nothing happens. And it's not that I'm lonely. It's not that I'm feeling sorry for myself, even though sometimes I do. It's that the desire that's inside of me is so intense. It actually feels, you're going to think this is dramatic, but this is how it feels. And maybe you feel this way too. It feels like death if it doesn't happen. Okay. It's that strong. So I know if I feel that strongly about marriage, it's God's will for me to get married. And the same is for you too. If you have that desire to get married, it is God's will for you to be married. And I've read articles about women who have, they're in their mid-40s and they wanted to get married and they wanted to have kids and it didn't happen for them. I don't know if they're in a right relationship with God. And if they're not in a right relationship with God, I'm not going to say it won't happen, but I think it's a lot less likely to happen that they will be in the relationship that God has planned for them, because God has a plan for everybody. Whether you like it or not, we're all here for God's purpose. Okay, God created us. He has an agenda in mind, and that's for His glory. And His agenda is good. It's the ultimate good. It's the ultimate definition of good. And if it's His will for you to be married, then I believe He has a person in mind for you to marry. And I'll talk about why I believe that later. And He has a certain will, a certain ministry, a certain thing He wants you to do that's going to bring Him glory in that marriage. I actually have a friend, and she gave me permission to talk about her situation, but God set up her marriage to a particular person. It's so fabulous how it happened. And I was there to witness all of it. I was there through all of it. But me and her were single for the longest time. And she's been married for a while now, I think about 4 years. And now her and her husband have 2 kids. And God gave her a dream that she was going to enter into a covenant with Him, that is with God. God gave her a dream that she was going to enter into a covenant with God on a certain date. I can't remember the date, but hypothetically speaking, we'll just say December 5th. So He told her December 5th, right? He is very specific. God can be very specific with you. And He was with her. And she entered into that covenant with Him. And after that, God told her that He just spoke to her heart and said, you are going to be married on December 5th. And He gave her a dream of her husband. And this particular husband had blue or green eyes. And so she ended up going to a couple of churches, trying to see where God was leading her to stay. And there were two particular guys, one at each church, that she felt were very awesome men of God, very godly, very just the type of man that she'd be interested in maybe getting involved with. One of them had, I can't remember his eye color, it's either blue or green, but ultimately she ended up going to that church, and they were friends at first and became really good friends, which I think is really important too when you get into a dating relationship. Be friends first before dating. If you can't be friends with somebody, I honestly don't know how you can date them. So I don't know how long afterwards, I think it was 5 or 6 months, they started dating. And they got along so good. They were just the most awesome couple. And it was quite a while later, I think it was a year later, and he told her, and he formally proposed later on, but at first he just said, "Why don't we get married?" And she said, "Okay." And he said, "Why don't we get married on December 5th? Now, I'm telling you, I don't know that that's the exact date they said. I know it was a date in December. I'm just saying hypothetically. God told my friend a date, and then my friend's now husband said the exact same date, and he did not know about this dream. Okay? So, I believe it was 2011. They were married on December 5th, 2011. So, just based on that and a lot of other Christian couples that I've seen, God does have a specific person in mind. So, that's what I believe. I'm not saying that it's doctrine, but to be honest with you, I mean, there's plenty of examples in the Bible as well where God had a specific person in mind for someone else. So, I just keep praying when I'm in those situations, God, if this is it, let it happen. If not, close the door. And he closed the door, and it's disappointing. It really is. I mean, I'm going to be real with you. I'm not going to sit up here as some super spiritual person that isn't bothered by things that happen in life, because I am. And maybe you can relate. Maybe you're in a situation where you've been single as long as I have or longer. Maybe you're at a certain age where you feel you like you can't have kids anymore. Maybe you are divorced, and maybe it's at a younger age, maybe it's at an older age. Maybe you're a single mom, you're a single dad. Maybe you've been in an abusive relationship, which is my situation. I think that people who have been in abusive relationships have specific needs and are in a specific situation, and the world will probably tell you you're less likely to find love. All of these situations that I've just described, the world will tell you you're less likely to find love. In fact, they say for women age 30 and up, or even men age 30 and up, the likelihood that you will get married decreases significantly every year. Okay? That's statistics. That's what the world says. I'm here to tell you, you can find love. Okay? You want to be married. You have that deep desire in your heart, similar to what I told you that I have. I believe that's God's will for your life. The most important thing is that you get right with God and accept Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior and live for Him. Have that relationship with Him and learn what His will for your life is and do it. Okay? If you have that desire to get married, I believe God will grant that desire for you. And I just keep hope. I keep the hope alive. You know what? What else am I going to do? Give up? Be discouraged? Just sit in despair? And sometimes I do. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I do. It can be very, very hard. And I'm not a lonely person. I love my independence. I love my time with my friends. I don't even get jealous of people that get married or are in really good relationships. I am ultimately, deeply, sincerely happy for them. And I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed that I'm at that point where I don't get jealous. of that. Not at all. I mean, in all seriousness, not at all. But I do have that deep desire to get married. And I know God's going to grant that for me. And I know there's days that I have, and you probably have too, where it's just you're so discouraged and you feel like it's never going to happen. And the feeling can be very debilitating. And if you've been in an abusive relationship and now you're currently single, that can be especially hard because you're used to being in a relationship, and being in an abusive relationship really messes with your mind in such a major way, to where it's probably that much harder for you to be single. I know, I went through it. I know. By the grace of God, I got through it victoriously, and now I am happily single, and happily waiting on God to bring me and my future spouse together at the right time. And I want you to stay encouraged that God's going to do that for you too. Okay? I'm with you in this struggle. I'm with you through the pain and everything that you're probably feeling. I've probably felt it. If you want to leave comments below, please do. Let's talk about this. Let's start a discussion on this. You know, I mean, we need to help each other out and encourage each other. And like I said, I'm not here to rebuke you. I'm not here to say there's something wrong with you. I'm not here to say you need to do this more, you need to do that more, and maybe you need to do online dating, or maybe you need to, you know, I'm not here to do that. You've probably heard it all before. You've been beat up emotionally with those words that people say to you. And when they constantly ask you, why are you single? Or, you know, I have the perfect person that you can meet. Or, and that's not necessarily bad. I mean, I would say they're complimenting you, saying, you know, you're a good catch. You should be married. Or, you know, if somebody does want to play matchmaker with you, that's not necessarily bad. Be open to that. Why not? Why not? But I'm just not here to do that, because I know you've gone through it enough. I've definitely gone through it enough. So stay encouraged, and I'll probably do other videos too. I'm almost like bipolar in my feelings about this. Sometimes I'm really okay being single, and other times out of the blue, the discouragement with that sets in so severely. It's just hard to handle, and I have to just take it to the cross. I have to take it to God and let Him help me deal with that. And it's also based on trust, my trust that He's going to fulfill His promise to me that I'm going to get married at the right time. So I also encourage you to seek His face, seek His will for your life, and have Him reveal things to you as far as when you're going to get married, if you're going to get married. Just tell God how you feel. He's the ultimate counselor and healer. I look forward to seeing your comments below and to getting a discussion started on this. Have a great day. God bless you.